It's like we're live. And I'm going to turn the chat on. So Clint doesn't have to tell me to this week. Hope everybody's having a good hump day. Man, it's getting cold here. I don't know about where y'all are, but damn cold. 20s, I shouldn't say it. It's fixing to get a lot worse. I guess it's maybe 22 here. Let's see. Man, my chest squeaky as hell. I'll get a better chair. Grab this link and put it out there. Man. There's Mr. Clint. What's going on, brother? I sent you that link. Did you get it? Can't believe it took that long. Oh, hey, I left that thing open. Okay, it did good. Sometimes when I send somebody a message and open up a bunch of groups, it's in every single one of them. This chair's getting so damn squeaky, and we'll have to replace it. I'm sure y'all can hear that. This microphone picks up everything. It's pretty decent about noise canceling, but I don't think it's canceling that noise. But I'll try to be still. So let me get these links out, and we can ratchet job for a little while. Hope everybody got everything they need. Anybody got their Christmas shopping done? I try to get mine done during the Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I got hit with a shocker. Buddy of mine has a friend that's looking to sell one of those SIG M400s AR-15s, and I think, man, that's a pretty good deal. I think it's $700 they want for it, which is a lot for an AR, but for the SIG, it's not the Rattler and MCX, but it's a M400, which is a decent AR that I'd like to have. I was like, man, that sounds good. It's hard to resist. And he's like, yeah, the dude's guess need no money for Christmas and stuff. So I'm like, man, I understand how that works. Times are tight here too, but man, it's an awful good deal. I think normally they're almost twice that new. So I was like, yeah, I'll think about that. I'm definitely interested. And the next day, my ex calls up. My daughter needs a computer. Hers broke down. And she had another one just like it. And the same thing happened to this one. And I was surprised it lasted as long as it did. It's probably 8-year-old laptop. Yeah, it's old for PC, and it's a laptop. So that's one with the built-in battery. You couldn't big mistake buying it. You couldn't replace the batteries on the outside. You have to break it open to do it on the inside. And I did that one to the last one. But this one has a few other things wrong with it. And so I'm like, yes, here's what she wants. About $750 and $7.99. What the hell did I just do, man? Which one was that? Holy moly, I just deleted the group without sharing to it. That's not very good. I don't remember who that was. That might have been the Moonshine Group. Let me see who that was. Dang on it. Hey, when I do that stuff, let's see before. He was Moonshine Group. No, like that one. It'll take me a second here. I want to make sure which one it was. I want to try to get them all out there. People watch, go to them, and want to. Yeah, there it is. Good, good. Nope, not that one. Damn. Was that one? Whatever it was. This one. Nope. Yeah, maybe I did click it after. Maybe I just exited after I clicked it anyway. Oh well. World continues to spin, I guess. Oh no, cut me off early. I got to share to 11. Let me do 12 or 13. That's different. We'll leave him open. I'll put it on there later. Let's see. Okay. All right, now I'm starting out behind. All right. What's going on, Terry Henry? Doing good, brother. How about yourself? What's going on here, Billy? Doing good, brother. What's up, JJ? Doing good, bro. I didn't even get a chance to look, bro. I was eating when you sent that. Down here in the basement, all snuggled up, warm. Had me a little bit of a nap. I didn't want to get up. Tired, cold and tired. It's all cozy. And I snuggled up around the couch. I said, set that alarm for 7:30. We snoozed about 45 minutes. The alarm went off. I hate getting up out of this awful warm and cozy. What's going on, Mud Grips? How you doing, brother? I know. That's awful tempting, though. That SIG at $700. That's not a bad deal for that one. A lot of mine I don't have $300, $400 in them. I get these Palmetto State ones on these blemish deals they've got. And put them together, get kits. Get lower and upper separate, and get them on the deals. $350 or so. If y'all haven't tried them, they have some pretty good ARs for the money. Mil spec and decent quality. I mean, it's not top notch. It's definitely not the best. I also had an Arrow pistol for $500. I think that SIG for $7 is a little better deal. Those arrows are pretty nice though. But yeah, Palmetto, I've got a few of those, and they make a good quality AR-15. For the money. If you're in the market for one, it's a pretty good deal. It's better than a lot of the. I don't know if you've seen these ATIs or American Tactical that have the composite receivers, composite lowers. I got one years and years ago, and what's going on, Justin? Good to see you, brother. I got one years ago, and I didn't really look at it. I got it at a gun store, and it was a no-brainer. It was 350, 375. It was cheap, but it had a really nice scope on it. It had a front uh, grip on the front, the stock, and flashlight mounted on it. It had a lot of good accessories with it, and I was like, well, hell, I started to buy all the accessories on them. Shit. And it's probably got $300 worth of accessories on it. I know Craig gets you. Yeah, it easily gets me too, brother. Yep. Yeah, auto erection gets you every time. What's going on, Chris? What's up, brother? I've got contacts, and to help me read, my doctor has me. One side is strong, normal, and the other side's weak. And it's like two different prescriptions in one, and you learn to see with both at the same time. And it took a while to get used to, and it's kept me on bifocals this long, but I don't know how much longer I can stand it. It's kind of messes with you. Oh, a bunch. I know a lot of distilleries. They don't. They'll drain, dump, and go, man. And as long as you doing the same thing, mash over and over and over again, and it won't hurt to leave a little back set in there and just pour your mash right over top of it and run another one. As long as it's not scorched or anything, you can do it quite. I mean, actually, that's the best way to do it. Uh, you know, you don't have to clean them as long as you continuously run them. They'll keep themselves pretty clean. Just keep running them or keep running them at boiling alcohol. It'll keep them clean. It keeps that copper cleaner. And in fact, if you continuously run them a lot, you don't have to. You can go for quite some time. I know one distillery, they'll break down everything and clean it maybe 3 or 4 times a year. So as long as you don't have anything scorched or anything like that. But for mine, I just every time I'm done with it, I'll take it down and spray it out and clean it with a little dish soap. But it's stainless, boiler. I run through copper mesh, so I don't have to worry about maintaining a lot of copper. I used to do copper, and it's just now I can run it through that mesh and get all the sulfites out. It just doesn't make as much sense anymore. I mean, it's still nice to have copper. There's a lot of advantages to copper, but with the mesh that we can use now to force the vapor path through, it helps remove all those sulfites, and it's really helped out a lot. I just don't like a lot of the maintenance. That's good. Uh, what's going on, Mash Brothers? What's up, Jim? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Mr. Bruns has been here in a while. It's another good liquor maker. Yeah, some don't clean them very often. I know one place they'll break down about 3 or 4 times a year and spray everything down and clean everything out. I mean, they probably have stills big enough though you can climb into, that size. But yeah, not often as you'd think. No, really, not a lot of need to. Like I said, a lot of that, it's that hot alcohol vapor and mostly vapor, hot alcohol vapor and water, is what most of it is. You'll have some, I guess, fruit juices or whatever in the vapor as well with a brandy and some corn juice and flavorings, in your corn liquors and grain runs, but really not a lot that's going to, I'd say it really would depend on what you're distilling to, and how. I'd say if you did a lot on the grain, you'd probably need to clean out a little bit more than if you didn't. So, I'd say, you'd have to clean your pot out a little bit more often if you distilled on the grain, but that'd just be to help prevent from scorching and clean up anything on the bottom that was there. But I guess with the steel jackets, not really, wouldn't be that big of a concern. I'm stuffed up a little bit tonight, so you'll hear me sniff a little bit. I didn't drink enough last week and got a little bug. Yeah, it's getting pretty chilly. Oh, yeah, let me see how cold it is. I reckon it's probably in the low 20s. It's supposed to be in the low 20s. 28, they're not too bad. Let's see what it's supposed to be here. I think they changed the forecast because we had some lower 20s for this week. I guess warming up a little bit. Maybe Saturday or Sunday I can get those Christmas lights on the gutter. It's going to be a whopping 40, 42. I got to put the Christmas lights up. I wish I'd done it a week before this cold weather got here. I was getting ready to do it. And I said, it'll be all right. This cold snap won't last long. Yeah. Yeah, the ATI, this one had like a composite lower, and I mean it's a nice gun and everything, but hell, I couldn't resist it for what it was selling for. Just with, like I said, the accessories on it was worth what I paid for it almost. Um, had a laser on it with a little light, really nice little setup, and so I couldn't resist it. The light mount well, actually had a laser and a light. You had a little push button, and pretty nice. I think those right there were about $130 alone. But yeah, I like the Palmetto. They make a decent gun right now. I think you can get an upper for like 199 to 229, 239. And people, oh, you can't get 10,000 rounds. Then okay, well, you can replace them for $189. That's pretty much that's cheaper than you can maintain some of the other ones and swap out barrels and other stuff. Hell, most barrels, cost you more than that. Yes, I have, and the way he's got my uh, prescription 1 weak and 1 strong. When I do, I know it immediately because it really messes with me. But for me, it really messes with me to go from contacts to regular glasses. And I wear these little reading glasses from time to time when I need to. Sometimes if I'm reading fine print or going to a restaurant where it's dark and hard to read, I'll I'll take him with me. Yeah, ketchup works good. got the vinegar, it's got vinegar in it, which helps. And I think the tomato paste is acidic as well. So yeah, it works fine. Makes it easy to apply and pasty, It's a lot easier to put down and just like trying to use vinegar on it. Once a month. I try to run it as much as I can. During the summers, I run it more often than I do in the winter, but I run year round. I'll run it inside on the stove. I've got a little 18.5 gallon beaver that I'll run on the stove, and this stove doesn't cycle heat on and off. When I turn it up to 8 and 9, which is the highest temperatures on it doesn't kick on and off and regulate on and off and on and off and on and off. The thermostat doesn't work when it gets that high. It just stays on. I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be or if it's an old Frigidaire glass top, and it's a good old one. It was an convection. It got the little fan in the oven and stuff, and it's got a dual burner on the front right, and it's 3,200 watt. When you use both elements full blast, it's 3,200 watt, which is pretty good size wattage for stovetop. And then the back one, I think they're like 1922, something like that, 1900, 2200. And it's got a little warmer in the middle. And I turn all three of those on. That 18.5 will cover all three of those burners, and it does just fine. It doesn't cycle on and off. It doesn't affect my cuts and run at all. But that's one thing you got to worry about on a stovetop, especially electric, is it cycling on and off, because you definitely don't want that. That's why you don't want a PID controller as opposed to an SCR, because those PIDs will cut on and off on you, and it messes with your cuts. It's harder to bring it up to temp and keep it at steady increase in your temp and stuff, to fractionally distill as much as you can in a pot still. With that up and down heat, it makes it a little harder to make those cuts. That's awesome, brother, man. I know y'all excited. Hell yeah, man. Leaving the city, going to the country. Did you find your little place with some land and out in the woods, or just renting someplace till you can find something? That's awesome, man. Yeah, I hope you and family have safe travels. Uh, Best deal on high temp. If you want a larger volume of it, I would say Firm Solutions, hand down. Um, I don't know if they sell less than quarts anymore. Uh, I don't think they sell less than a quart anymore. Let me check it out for you here real quickly. I know they. Let's see here. High temp alpha is $26 for a 1 liter. Yeah, 1 liter. So I guess that's pretty, a little over a quart, I guess. 1 liter, about a quart. It says no, 1 liter is not equal to a quart. 1 liter equals 1.06 quarts. Wow, that 0.06. Oh, you gotta love it. Yeah, see, it's about a quart, a little over a quart, but $26 for a quart there. I know Philbilly's got it. See, well, I think it's more expensive than that on Amazon, and that's North Georgia, I think, has that. Yeah, 8 ounces is $19 on there. So it's definitely 16 ounces, 37. So definitely going to be cheaper to probably call Farm Solutions. I don't know, free shipping though makes up a little bit. I don't know what, or if you're close enough, you can drive to Danville, Kentucky and get it. But they have two different high temp. And I just usually get the cheaper one. Let's see. But if you want gallons and stuff, they've got that. And it's $80 a gallon, or $500 for a 300 kilogram jug, which I guess the big distilleries buy off them. But it's nice that they'll sell it to us. And I see at Farm Pro they got their yeast up there too, the 927, 17 for a brick of that. It's not bad, 500 gram brick. Not bad at all. But yeah, they sell to a lot of big. Let me check a few. If you can use full Fillbilly, it might be a couple dollars more, but you're supporting a brother, Let's see. He needs a search function on there. Definitely needs him a search function. Got a lot of botanicals. Got a lot of good stuff on there. I don't see his amylase. I know he's got it. Oh yeah. Anywho, yeah, Philbilly, or probably message Ian and find out. It'd be quickest way to just message Ian. But if not, Firm Solutions, probably be your second best place to get it. And let me see. Let me pull that website up for you. There you go. I got a Danville, so let me pull it up. You can get, yeah, just go to Google it. It's Firm Solutions. And yeah, just firmsolutions.com. And they got some a lot of different things. Man, that Vendome steel is nice. That's money right there. Yeah, man. Vegas is, it's a great place to visit, but I don't know if I'd want to live there either. Always shit to do, but there's always a lot of trouble getting into, man. too much temptation for me, man. I'd gamble every damn bit of money. Swarping and drinking and gambling. I can't say anything else. I get in trouble. Yeah, they got you. They got your liquid glucose as well. I think that's the source of a lot of it. People get it from these guys and repackage it and sell it. Clint and I were talking about it a while back. There's only a few places, I guess, worldwide that produce it. So it's not like there's a lot of different little production sites that make it. I'm not sure if they make theirs or they just source it from China or somewhere as well. But I think especially if you're doing larger amounts, they definitely the place to go. Cheaper than Amazon. I definitely would rather help Patrick Heist and those guys down there in Danville. It's not sure if he runs Moonshine University or just works with them. But brilliant guy, brilliant. Probably the most knowledgeable person in the industry. Maybe one day we'll get him on our podcast. What do you think? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, that's the liquid glucose. Yeah, I'm still on their webpage. So let me see here. They've got nutrients. They've got yeast. Yeah, the liquid glucose is 24 for the same size for 1 liter. And then they've got this alpha amylase HC enzyme. And it's considerably more expensive. And it's a lot darker in color. And they've got the HC glucose as well. So not really sure what this HC is all about. Let's see. Yeah, they call to add it before you gelatinize too, and just let it cook. And interesting. I generally don't do it that way, but let's see what they say about this one. Yeah, they do this one the same way. I've never done it that way a time or two, but I prefer to gelatinize, and then of course I'm steeping, and they're talking about cooking too. So I'm not sure what the HC. That'd be a good question to ask him. I'm trying to think of what HC would stand for. Let me see something here. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I guess I trailed off on that story. So I had to get my daughter a computer, so that might 99 my hopes of that SIG, because I'm broke till after Christmas. Yeah, I've got all my shopping done, thank goodness. That's why I'm broke. That was the final straw. Oh yeah. Yeah, actually, if you're going to go out hunting and for a survival gun like that, probably one of the best things, and definitely one of the few that we can afford to shoot a lot these days. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I was, but for all intents and purposes, a liter versus a quart, about the same. So if somebody says, "Well, I got a liter of this instead of a quart," it's like 0.06. That's yeah. I mean, it is more though. I mean, it's a few ounces, probably an ounce or so. Another another use or two out. When it comes to enzymes, that's a couple of few uses. You don't take much. Uh-oh. Right. I couldn't find it on Phil's site, man. I was looking at it, and I have to get him a search function. I figured it'd be with the yeast, and I know he's got it. And it's probably not much, if any more than Firm Solutions. And if it includes shipping, it might be a couple few dollars more if it is more. But if you can find it on there, definitely help Philby out. I see his yeast nutrient. Let's see if it's there. Let me see if it's in his latest products. I don't see it. But definitely, if you can get it there, probably be the best place to get it. For sure. Yeah, the Firm Solutions yeast, this 927 stuff is supposed to be the bomb, and that's what they had on that page out there. And I've got to get this used. Definitely got to get it used. Didn't. Well, if you got it off of Amazon, it could be, I don't know. I used to be concerned about some things with them, like yeast and stuff, where it gets stored in warehouses. But I don't know about the amylase. I say the glucose could easily get denatured in the top of some of these warehouses that get hotter and shit. Down to the corn, I have to put it with yeast or just here we go. Yeah, he's got a combo there that's got both high temp and the glucose. Let's see what he's got here. Yeah, he's got a combo there of both for 32. So that's a pretty good deal. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. 2 8-ounce bottles. Well, you saw what it was on Amazon. 8-ounce bottles. I think one of them was that much. Let's see here. Yeah, one 8-ounce bottle is 19, and double that'd be $40 for an 8-ounce of each. It's $8 cheaper at Fieldbilly, so definitely better than going through Amazon. Probably about as good as any, really. Half that. Let's see, it's 16 for 8 ounce. See, that's like $3, probably $3 more than Firm Solutions. So I like it. His is a little darker too, so it might be that HCl stuff that the HC stuff they got, which is a little bit more expensive. So it may be about the same price. So if that's definitely the case, definitely go to Fieldbilly. Yeah, his is definitely the darker looking one, the HC amylase that they've got. It's 42 for a liter, so it's about the same price. So I definitely keep on Fieldbilly a shout for that. I need to tell Phil he needs to move that, put that in the yeast and the nutrients and all that should go under yeast and consumables or something. A little hard to find. Right. What's this Viscoseb? Let's have the Viscoseb too. Yeah, a chow. I had a chow, man. That some bitch chew everything he get his mouth on up, man. He tore up everything in the radius of his chain. He tore it up, man. He ate into everything. They're eating his dogs. Yeah, they chew up everything. Yeah, that's the best deal right there. For sure. Especially with shipping. Opinion on cannabis. It's good. That's interesting. I wasn't aware of that. I used to drink a lot of Jaeger back in the day, man. HC stands for high activity, highly concentrated. Yeah, I found it. Yeah, you need to put it under like yeast and yeast nutrients and enzymes all together. I wouldn't have known to look with the corn. I was looking in other places. Good. No, thank you there, here, buddy. HC. Yeah, I tell you what, go to Fieldbilly, man. It's pretty much the same stuff. It's cheaper. Fieldbilly has it quite a bit cheaper, in fact. Yeah, this is some badass dogs. Oh, them damn pillows are so chewable. It's like a little animal they're eating there, man. They imagine they're tearing into some kind of animal. Yeah, get a little Philbilly. He'll have you. He'll hook you up. Definitely cheaper than the stuff from Amazon. The North Georgia from Amazon. I know they just rebottle that. They're getting it from. They might get it from Phil and rebottle it. But I think that I used to get mine off Prohibition when he was selling it. That basically all he carried was just that, and every year at Maggie, I'd hit him up for a couple, and he'd usually cut me a good deal on them. He'd give me a discount, give me a good price on them. I couldn't refuse. I think I got two for 20 or something like that of the pouches. So that's a pretty good deal. Yeah, he hooked me up. But yeah, definitely the way to go. Holy hell. Amylex 6T high temp liquid alpha amylase enzyme, 500 milliliter, which ain't much. $50 for that bottle, man. That's crazy. $50 for that bottle. Tell me 500 milliliters is a freaking gallon. How much is 500 milliliters? What? That's crazy, man. That's only half a quart. A little over a pint, 1.06 pints. Here we go for 1.06 pints. Damn. That's just liquid gold, man. That's crazy, dude. I've never seen that before on here. From DuPont. Doesn't take as much. And here is a good point. Their pH range is 4.8 to 6.0. Is another reason I tell you to make sure that you get your pH on your water right before you start steeping and converting. Yeah, I had a person the other day on, I don't remember if it was on Militia page or one of the pages, telling me that when you're boiling vinegar and running it through your still, you're really not getting the vinegar that's boiling off. It's just the water that boils off, and the vinegar stays in the still because it has a slightly different boiling point. And I was like, that don't sound right, because every time I ran vinegar through my stills, you can definitely smell the vinegar all over the house, the garage, wherever you're doing it, and it boiled off pretty much the same concentration as it was in there. It might have been a little bit more water. I mean, I know it's not azeotropic, but I think their boiling point is pretty much close enough, and plus they have such a good hydrogen bond with each other that that acid water, it's they bond pretty well with that hydroxide bond and hydrogen bond that I don't think, and they're close enough boiling point together that it forms what's called a tangent pinch, and it's kind of like an azeotrope, but it's a different relationship, but they're so close together that, and because of that hydrogen bond, they form what's called a tangent pinch, so it's hard to separate the two. And he's trying to get all scientific. Oh no, it's just water that boils off. There's might smell a little bit like vinegar, because there might. He said there wasn't any. I'm like, well, it sure smells like vinegar when it boils. And he said, it smell. There's not that much in there, if any. You can't tell for some people's stuff, man. They just have to beat you down with dumb. And he's trying to get all technical about it instead of the science. I think he was talking with Toby about it. It was. And it's like, nope, here's a lot of vinegar coming off, and it pretty much the same concentration that's in it. Right, right. And he was telling people to put water in there too, and it's like, why would you want to do that? You want to get that steam all the way down to the bottom, that way you can clean it all the pipes out on the tops, at the top of your copper too, because if it turns to liquid, it's just going to clean, the bottom where gravity keeps it in contact with, the bottom of the coil. So yeah, but you gotta correct people in a tactful way, don't browbeat them. This dude though, I don't know. Sometimes he likes to troll people, so I troll him back. Yeah, it is cheaper malted barley and the shipping. Shit, over $2 a pound. Well, why? A lot of grains they spray it what's called a propionic acid on it, and that helps preserve these grains and kind of seals them in and keeps them all shiny and pretty. And when you just throw them in your water, that propionic acid starts coming off of it, and I'd say that's why when you add your grains. I wasn't aware of that. I think it was Sean Peterman and Roy Carruthers when they were talking a while back on a podcast. I think maybe it's on Still Talking with Ian and Rigsby and Matt now. But they were talking about corn and how some of it has that propionic acid. So a lot of times when you get that whole kernel, it's a good idea to kind of rinse it off and before you grind it up. Yeah, vinegar will boil off. That's right. All grain wheated bourbon. Sounds like I like. I don't know about all that rye. I like that wheated bourbon too. Some people like the rye, some people don't. I don't mind small percentages of it with just a hint, a little spice. Um, but I don't like the real high rise. High rise. That's like a building. I don't like the high percentage rise, I should say. Too spicy for me. Don't have a lot of beginners on today. Ask questions. Come on, guys. If you have to start asking. That's good. I'm jealous. I've got enough to. Well, I've got some apple ready to run, and I've got some blackberry wine, and I've got a bunch of old wine I got to run as well. Yeah, I mean, there's been times when I didn't have anything else to run, and I just go to the store and get me a big old bag of sugar. I know, a little bit of cornmeal, do a thin mash, and go back to the old ways. Sometimes it's cheap. It's you don't have to go to you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to grind. You don't have to do all that. You can But it's hot, but I don't care. I'll put up with a little heat. Sometimes keeps them bugs from getting you. If I drank a little bit more this past week, I would be sick. That's what happens when you don't drink enough. I have all this stuff in this 2 years. I remember it's at 145 though. Yeah, I've got some cold crash ready to rock. That apple's ready to go. I should just applejack that shit. I never thought about that. Fucking cold enough. Pre-distill it with a little jack and get some of that water out. I wouldn't drink it. I mean, I've drank it that way before. I've jacked all kinds of different wines. But you know that in the eyes of the law, they call that freeze distillation, and that's illegal. Can you believe that shit? That's the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard. Hell yeah, man. I'm not too proud. I'll make some sugar shine. I like it with a little cornmeal though. I'll throw some cornmeal in it and flavor it up a little bit, and it's not bad. I mean, I grew up doing that thin mash. That's where everybody made moonshine back in the day. You know, they didn't do a lot of conversion and break out the high temp alpha and all that. You know, they didn't have the malted grains and malted barley. You know, you didn't get that in Eastern Kentucky, malted barley. Good luck. I know what Amazon to order from. Yeah, man, sure can. And you know, we've talked about this not too long ago. You know, if you got some of these stainless steel pots that, and you got an induction heater, you can get ball bearings. You know, stainless ball bearings, and put in that. I think it's a 400 series that's magnetic. Let me double check it. It's ferrous, but I think it's the 400. So yeah, 400 series is very magnetic. Martinistic. Good word. But yeah, the 400 series stainless is, and they make ball bearings in that 400, and you can put those in there with your induction heater and keep it from scorching, and you know they'll move around and help keep things from sticking. But I'm definitely going to try to. I got a false bottle on mine. I got a brew bag, so I'm going to try to. We'll try to distill on the grain here for too long. We'll sparge all the fine materials and fine stuff off, and just leave the heavier grain in the bag, or do that through a strainer, and then put a screen, and put the heavier grains in a bag. But I saw some videos earlier this week. Poppin' Lines posted. It was. I think this is from not the Ukraine, but somewhere over there in Eastern Europe. A bunch of guys, trying to think of what the distillate was. I can't remember. But anyway, they were putting in this botanical. And I know a lot of cultures will stuff the bottom of their stills with hay, or they'll line it with big fat leaves, you know, and layer leaves, and then pour a thick mash over top of that. And it keeps it from scorching. And I'm not sure what they were making though. Everything was in a foreign language, and I was having to hit translate on every comment just to kind of learn a little bit about what they were doing. And they said what the distillate was, but I can't remember what it was. I've not had it. It wasn't anise, or any anisette or ouzo. But I think that the thing they were lining the bottom of this still with had more than just non-sticking. I think it actually had some botanical properties that they used to help, give it a flavor, which was pretty interesting. First still's on the way. That cornmeal sugar wash sounds like it'd be right up my alley. Yeah, I've probably got some. A sour mash would be good, but for a beginner, I don't know, with using the back set and the pH and running it all the way through the tails, and for a first distillation, and it's definitely something I'd recommend though for everybody. But let me check and see what I'm pretty sure. Let me look in. Let's see here. Well, I'm about, and let me see, do something else here for a minute. Hold on just a second. Let me finish setting these pages out so I can go ahead and shut them down. Let me make sure Mark's not got a live going. He doesn't. Okay. I don't want to post this page if he does. Oh, Mark's a good fella. Finish those off and then I'll. Now I'll look at my files and see what I got. I'm pretty sure I've got all right, let me see here. Have to do a little admin in there for a second. Some people just never learn. Let me see. I'm looking in DIY Shine and Steel Building in our files there. Let's see if I've got thin mash. All right, so I'll upload a file for you. I can't put it here. So what it's called a thin mash, and it's basically about 1.5 pounds of sugar and 1 pound of cornmeal and a gallon of water. For every gallon of water, 1.5 pounds of sugar and 1 pound of cornmeal. Stir that up good. Use a little bread yeast in it, and or whatever yeast you want to use. But I always just use bread yeast. It works pretty well for a beginner. Don't have to convert anything, do anything, and that's probably better than a sugar wash. A lot of people, it doesn't crash like a sugar wash does. Got a little bit of nutrients in there for your yeast. With your cornmeal, there's some nutrients in there. So um, pretty good little thing. And it makes okay liquor. It's not going to set the world on fire, but it's definitely better than just a sugar wash for sure. And that works pretty well. Some people you do the 111, but with just a pound of sugar, it has a little bit low starting gravity, and with a pound and a half, and and a pound of meal and a gallon of water should be a pretty good mix. Now, what you want to do is heat that water up, get it good and warm, and 160 degrees plus, and then melt your sugar in it and dissolve it real good. Don't be careful. You can squirt sugar too, just the same. Um, but melt that sugar down and then put that cornmeal in when it's good and hot like that and let it cool and wait till it gets about 90 degrees, 90, 95, and not over 95 for sure, but about 90 degrees. Add that bread yeast or daily yeast and just let it cool on down to room temperature. About keep it about 80, 85, which is a little bit warmer than room temperature. But I keep a little heater next to mine. I've got a little oil filled radiator heater, one of those little electric oil filled radiator heaters, and you can put that. I've used everything from the 5 gallon, like the water bottles, the light blue water bottles you turn upside down for those office type water dispensers. Um, those make a decent little 5 gallon fermenter for wines and brandies and when it whatever. I've got a hold about 5 gallons. You do start with about 4, because you give yourself some room for your cap, and it depends. If it's banana, start with about 2. But a number 10 stopper, if you want to look for a stopper or you want a whole stopper to fit it and put your little airlock on there if you want to make some wines with it. But that makes a good little fermenter, and you can put that oil filled heater in the middle of a few of those. Or if you got some 20, 40 gallon, blue barrels or trash can looking barrels, that heater will keep 3 or 4 of those. Just put it right in the middle of them, and it'll keep them all perfectly warm, all winter long. But if you could put get some of that foam rubber that they use for foundation work, it's pretty dense foam, about an inch thick, that foam sheet. Put that on the floor and keep it up off the floor. That helps too. But yeah, just heat your water up to 160, melt your sugar in it, and add your meal, and at that temperature, if there's anything in there, any lacto or any other kind of bacteria, anything in there, it'll help kill all that off, so you don't have any infections or anything. Not something you want to deal with on your first run, and it's simple. Gallon of water, heat it up, pound and a half sugar for every gallon you got there, and a pound of cornmeal for every gallon you got. Pretty easy recipe. Don't really need the crushed up oyster shells or anything like that, because it doesn't really have. I've never had pH crashes with that or with my grain like I do, with an all sugar, high sugar wash. I've had a few of those pH crash on me, but yeah, it should take care of it. You do have an agitator. I'm getting ready. This one's got a false bottom, but you definitely want to sparge, even though it's got a bag, because I don't want those fines getting out in the liquid and dropping down and risking scorching. So I'm going to sparge it pretty well through a screen mesh and get all the fine stuff out of it, and then just keep the heavier materials, I guess corn and grains. I guess too, if you crush some of your grains instead of grinding them down to a powder, like barley, some people just crush and roll it and just crush the barley and instead of grinding it to a fine, and the same with rye and wheat. If you just crush all those instead of grinding them fine, you can distill with those as well. I'm not sure what it was. It was a botanical, and it was just, and I think they had this big pit. Go to DIY Shine and stuff, and look, it's a cool video. We've been posting quite a few of these third world and other countries, and how they distill and stuff, and wasn't a real big pot, but they had a big old pit. They just dumped that mash when they were finished distilling in there, and it was thick. It was thick, man. It looked like a regular corn mash. It was thicker than most. Looked like it's still gelatinized. It wasn't thinned out or nothing. I guess they don't use amylase over there, but it might have been looked like some kind of fruit. So it was a brandy base, but man, it was thick. But yeah, I'll Scurb, if you're on Facebook, look up DIY Shine and Steel Building, and join that. I'll upload. Let me make a note, 'cause if I don't, I forget. Bigger than shit. I have to make notes of everything. But the recipe's pretty simple. I mean, it's a gallon of water, pound meal, and a pound and a half of sugar, and that'll give you about a 1060. You know, starting gravity. It'd be pretty good. Yeah, steam distilling or oil. There's some places that have oil or glycerin that they circulate. And I guess 200-degree oil is nothing. I mean, it's not even close to frying at that temperature. So, and I guess works, and some places use like a antifreeze, ethylene glycol. They just circulate that at 200, 210 degrees, and not a problem. It could be juniper. Could very well. I think it had some botanical properties. It wasn't a traditional hay or leaf, because I've seen a lot of. I'm really into looking at a lot of these, different countries and how they do things and their methodologies, and seen some very interesting clay pots that they use, and how they pretty much. I guess the guy that came up with the Boca Cob basically mimicked an old setup that they do in a third world country with a clay pot, and they stick this bamboo in at an angle, and they got it shaved, and they got the top of the steel comes down and to a point inside the steel. So as it forms steam, it hits the top of this, and they keep water in the very top, right? And as it hits that cooler lid, it drips down into this one little catch, and it goes through this bamboo or straw and out. And it's amazing. They get some pretty high proof off that. But yeah, it looked like it was something that was maybe had some botanical properties. What's going on, Monty? Yeah, it's that time, man. Definitely the time for shots, everybody. Ooh, that's got some heat to it. You watch my face get red, watch. Okay, you can see it getting red. My nose too. I'll tell you what's real good. Cream corn. I've done that, and cream corn, sweet corn or cream corn, but cream corn in your thumper. Share that. Don't keep that a secret. Don't share that. It makes adds a lot of good flavor. It gives you a real good corn flavor in your corn liquor. But cream corn, and I immersion blend it, or you can blend it in your blender or food processor, whatever you got. And yes, sir, man, that's good stuff. And it don't matter, that had to be good. You can go to the cheap store and get it, or go to Costco and get them big old cans of it. Yes, sir, man. That cream corn makes a good infuser for your corn liquor. Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah. I think it definitely has some botanical properties because the way it looked, and it did have like some. It wasn't just like a straight grass, so it did have like little bulbs on it. You could tell that it had like a dried flower or something like that on it. And they reused it when they would dump this liquor or the mash out. When they were done, they had a little electric conveyor, and they had a pretty cool system, man. And they lift that thing up, lift that off the furnace. They used wood, and they dump that thing out. And I guess they, after it drained, they would go over and pick that botanical or whatever it was up and stuff it into another one, man. And so it may have had some botanical properties. Meadow sweet, huh? Hops are expensive too, man. There's there's some people down here that do hop farming. It's pretty expensive. Good hops are pretty pricey. Yeah, I think around here they like to grow them around ponds and lakes and stuff next to the water. Yeah, I'd say juniper, definitely. But yeah, they were just putting this down there and they just poured that on it. Didn't use leaves or nothing. Now I've seen a lot of cultures use leaves and hay, but this wasn't any kind of hay or anything. I would wager to say, now. Let me see what anise looks like. I didn't Google anise. Hmm. Yeah, it didn't look anise like anise. Organic anise. Let me see what this looks like here. Might have been like that dried though. But I don't think it was like an ouzo or anything, because some people are guessing ouzo and they said no. So I guess some places might use anise for that, but I'd say it'd be pretty overpowering. Use that kind of concentration of it. I was gonna say, Chris, how the hell are you gonna make it with that yeast? Just using wild yeast, or I was had me thinking there hops. Yeah, yeah, that's what these are. I think these are for foundation underneath. It's not like the sheathing that they put, behind like vinyl siding. I've seen that used, but this is it comes in 4x8 sheets, and I guess they put it down under foundations and stuff. Um, yeah, hay barrels works. Yep. Hey, brother, any questions you got? We're right here. You come here, go to the DIY Shine and Steel Building page and ask there, or Moonshine Militia. Join there and ask all your questions, or catch us here on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Ask all the questions you got, man. That's what we're here for. So if you don't ask questions, we'll just sit here and shoot the shit and you never know what we're going to talk about. Yeah, that's nice. That'll work real well. I've never made a lot of beer. I've only beer I've made, I've distilled. You know, it's always been just grain beers. You know, it's never was a big beer drinker. But I drink some of it when I had it going. You know, after a few days, just to kind of had to check the gravity. I didn't have a hydrometer back then. I never was a big beer drinker. I mean, I drank a lot of beer, but it wasn't because I liked it. It's just because I didn't want to get drunk that day, and that's what my buddies were drinking, and it's hard to drink half pints and throw the bottle at the signs. You know, you can't get around very long doing that. What's going on, Carpenter? I'd say it's pretty cold up there, ain't it? Damn, we're 24 down here. I can't imagine what it is up there. Yeah, it'd be interesting to try. Made, make it kind of soft and creamy. I don't know, it'd be pretty good with giving away hops. Damn. Damn, free hops. Well, they're pretty expensive. I guarantee you they ain't more than the damn malted barley. Oh, damn. I've never priced hops. Oh, Lord. 1.76 ounce. No, that's pure organic hops. That's for heating. Let's see. Let's find some BSG hops. Here we go. 8 ounce, 1750. That's BSG, so I know they're using that. Star West Botanicals, 1 pound, $47. Man, I'm telling you, we were talking about, well, a friend was talking about doing some hop farming. And I guess it was a few years back. The price, I guess, had gone way up. Dried hop flowers. Here we go. 4 ounces, $14. So that's 4 times 4. Well, it's $15. Dang. That's 60 a pound. Here's the cheapest one. Ripe View pellet hops from Czech Republic, I guess. Yamaka Chief. It's only 28 a pound. Here's In a Brew Cascade pellet hops, 26 a pound. Hops ain't cheap. Damn. Now I feel bad about overpaying for barley. -2. Keep that shit up there. Hell, I saw a picture the other day. Like it was snowing. That was snow was headed our way. We got about a little over an inch. That's all we got. Enough to stick though on the roads and everything, but it's pretty much gone off the sidewalks and roads now. But still on the grass and trees. It's about the perfect amount, you know, not enough to mess everything up, but enough to be pretty in the trees and in the heels. Looks good. I'd say I've never really worked with hops or beer, or done any of that. So I'm about as green as it comes. Well, I mean, I know more than somebody never done it, but not much. Just because I've fermented a lot. But yeah, I've never fooled with making any beers. Not opposed to it, but I just never was a big beer drinker, and I don't know how they make them dark beers. -2, man, that's a good jacking temperature, man. You can make that Applejack in a heartbeat in those temps. Plowed snow twice today. I'll keep that up here. I'd say Carpenter's even closer. They probably measure theirs as centigrade, though. God, I can't wait. Oh, shit. Tired, y'all. So have y'all ordered your Christmas presents for yourself yet? What did everybody get themselves for Christmas this year? Finding goodies on Black Friday or Cyber Monday. Every year I try to treat myself to something. I usually don't buy a lot, but I got me I guess I told y'all Saturday, I got me a little column. I got to assemble the damn thing. I mean, I got to put it together. So I haven't done that yet, but got me a nice little column, 4-inch column. If corn was 26 a pound, American liquor would not be made with corn. It'd be wheat whiskey, pure wheat whiskey. Oh man, I'm trying to not make everybody yawn. Well, I got this one. It wasn't a bad deal. I guess I think it was the next to the last one. They said they had 2 left, and but it's one of the. I wish I'd have just bought 4-inch sight glasses. That way, I could have never had to worry about assembling and disassembling and all that and cleaning. Because this one has like a silicone gasket between each of the glass sight glasses, or I don't know what do you call it, in a lantern, the globe. So that's like 4 glass globes that stack on top of each other, and it's got a silicone gasket that fits. And then it's got a metal on the top and a metal on the bottom, and then I guess in each silicone section you've got your bubble plate that sits in there, and it's not too hard to assemble, but it's I thought it would come assembled. Yep. Good old red winter wheat, man. It's good stuff. Damn it, I forgot to call that fella. I guarantee he sold out of that shit. I damn sure did. And I've made a note. It's on the back side of my note. Oh shit. I have to make notes everything I do and just try to remember. I can't believe it. I need to try. Maybe he's got a few bags in the barn that left. I have to. It's cheap, man. He's got it for like 40, 50-pound bags for $12. It's almost, I feel guilty about it every time I buy it. And it's clean, good, clean wheat. It's good. Can't believe. Usually September, October is when he usually has it. I don't know if he'll have it at this point. Got you some copper pot. I guess that's why Polishing copper, huh? Yeah, the sight glasses have a lot of weight. They do, and that's one of the things I was considering. Um, they are heavy, but you can use one or two or three, whereas this one you pretty much have to use four. Because the frames, the spindles that hold the metals. It's like a regular sight glass. It's just like a real tall, long one, and it's got like metal spindles, and they're not threaded the whole way, so you couldn't just make a short one out of it. Yeah, you more an hour late, Mr. 930. Hour and a half. How's it going, brother? Good to see you. But yeah, those sight glasses are heavy. Yeah, it's nice. It just take a little work. Once I get it put together, it's not like I'm gonna have to take it apart often to clean. I'll just rinse it out after each use, after it cools off. Any wood hat stuff? Yeah, especially those 4 inches, I'd say, are pretty heavy. Those stainless ones, man. Why do they got to be that heavy? I guess they're for a lot of industry that operates at a much higher psi than we do. But they need to make, you know, a thinner series for a distiller series of, the spools are plenty lightweight enough for us, right? But like the sight glasses, crazy heavy. And some of the valves, the ball valves, like an inch, 2 inch ball valves, have you seen how much those weigh? I ordered a 2 inch ball valve I was going to put on the steel, and it was solid, And that thing was like 40 fucking pounds, man. It would have bent the metal I was going to weld it into. It's like, no, that ain't gonna work. Wood hat. All right, now you got me thinking. What we talking about here? Wood hat. Is this a name brand or what we talking here? You got me googling. Oh, Wood Hat Spirits. Interesting. Out of Missouri. No, I have not. I haven't heard of Wood Hat. I hadn't seen them advertising anywhere. Is it good? When you first mentioned that, I was thinking it was some grain producer. As we're talking about hops and stuff, I was like, is this a Wood Hat hop company or what are we talking here? I've not tried them, Jace. Definitely, they've got it at Total Wine. I noticed. I know, man. You're tardy. You got to stay after class. I didn't know either, Clint. I had to Google that one. But it's a spirit company out of Missouri. And let's see, woodhatspirits.com. Let's give them a little pluggy plug. Looks like, wow, they got some cool looking labels. Bourbon-esque. They got some nice looking bottles too. An interesting looking label there. Damn, it's starting to move up. What the hell? It moved on me now. Wood Hat Spirits, Persimmon Cordial, Black Walnut Liqueur, Tawny Berry. I'm guessing a cordial. Okay. Lots of cordials. Interesting. I like it. Yeah, looks like they've got quite a few awards as well. Nice. Well, I guess it might be close to Osiris over there if it's in Missouri. I know Missouri has some pretty good laws on distilling. They're pretty good about that. So let's click on their map near New Florence, Missouri, on Boone Slick Road, right off 70. Interesting. Let me zoom out a little bit here and see where we're at. Zoom out a lot. Okay. All right. So yeah, they're in the right smack dab in the middle of Missouri, kind of east central. Cool. But no, I don't think they were at Arkansas this year. They get some Missouri and Kansas distillers down there. But I didn't. Sounds like they've got some interesting products though. Those cordials, I like cordials. Straight bourbon whiskey, so they got some bourbons, and some blue corn, bloody dapper. I thought it said Dapper to me at first. I was like, damn, that's a bold name. Yeah, those turkey burns, man. You just if you do cook, be careful using that to cook with. Banjo's definitely the way to go. You can get them on Amazon pretty cheap, John. Let me put up Amazon. I think my 10-inch is like, well, and I didn't get mine with the stand, and they've gone up in price. That's Concord though. I think mine was like a gas one, 10-inch gas one, 49. I think I paid like 34 for mine years ago. They've gone up in price, but this has a regulator with it, 20 psi, and that's what you want. Some of those have like a 10 psi, and they're really not big enough for that big 10-inch burner, but they're good. The gas ones. Here's one's just cast iron. It's a no name generic 42 for a 10-inch. Here's gas, no price on that one. But with the stand, the price jumps to about 80, 90 bucks real quick. But they've got some smaller ones. But I'd be concerned about the sturdiness. I wouldn't put anything big on this Eastman Outdoors when it's $150 and it's got little legs that look like telescoping and tighten up. I know it wouldn't hold keg steel. But yeah, about, I can't believe they're 49, almost 50 bucks now. I know I paid 34 for mine. Let me see what that's still, I can search it. Let me see what I paid for mine years ago. 5 years ago I bought it. They don't even show the price anymore. Yeah, I'd say, damn. There's one. That was not too bad. 42. for just the burner. It doesn't have the regulator. You might as well just get the one with the regulator for a few dollars more, but not too bad. But those 7-inch banjos, man, are nice. But if you, for boiling water, those turkey fried ones, those focus ones are, like a jet burner, they're the bomb for just boiling water. So, I mean, if you want to use the steep method, I mean, those are perfectly fine for boiling water. And you can use, for those people that have aluminum pots, big aluminum pots, they're fine. You can cook your mash in those and boil your water in them. Everybody, oh, you can't use aluminum. I wouldn't use an aluminum for a still or anything held back set or anything highly acidic, but for cooking and just boiling water, they're fine. But those jet burners, man, they'll boil water pretty quick, but they're just focused and it'll scorch real easy. I'd say, a keg wouldn't either. Yeah, I use blocks for mine, so I didn't buy a metal stand with mine. I use blocks and set mine up. But I prop mine. I've got concrete blocks and bricks. Well, actually, it's like Bedford stone that I use. Yeah, yeah. I ordered it in. It was close to 40 pounds. I mean, I didn't weigh it and I didn't look, but 35 sounds about right. I mean, this some bitch you can work out with it, and to just try to hold it and just everything you can do just to actuate it. And unfortunately, in shipping, I guess somebody saw that small box and picked it up and dropped it because they're expecting it to be lightweight. They weren't expecting, you know, like a lead box. But so when I got it, it had a big ding right in where the gasket would go, and I'm like, no, I couldn't keep at it even if I was going to. And I was going to weld a ferrule into a steel and use that. No way. No, I didn't see that. I have to look for that. Was that on Facebook or TikTok or where? I'll have to. Let's see if I can. Oh, that was in Virginia. It's on YouTube, CBS News. Let's see. All right, let's see here. I'm gonna use YouTube. They're a lot less likely to sue me for reproducing their content. Hold on. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Let's see here. How do I do that? Damn, I can't do it with the screen sized up. All right, let me set this thing up. We'll watch it. It should be funny. Wrong button. And here we go. And play. That's nice.
Authorities responded this past weekend to a break-in at a liquor store in Ashland, Virginia, but the perpetrator was probably not who you might have suspected. It wasn't Willie Geist, no.
Hey,
look at that mess.
I pay for my
broken bottles of gin, vodka, and whiskey littering the aisles. Was Carson there? Puddles of booze covering the concrete floors. Turns out the burglar did not get far. They found him in the restaurant, passed out. A reckless raccoon that did all that damage. Poor life choices. Certainly made the most of its night.
I went to the bathroom.
Animal control took him into custody after a few hours. sobering up, he was released back into the wild. How about that?
Real?
I don't know.
I've never broken into a liquor store, but I can relate to being on the bathroom floor.
Yes, the
Passed out next to the porcelain god.
Years ago.
That's what I was going to say. That's funny. Let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC.
I thought he was going to add something funny. That is funny, man. Oh, that's good. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I was going to say, man, I can relate to that. Passed out on the floor next to the porcelain god. Yeah, man. Yeah, cement board, anything really, just to, that doesn't transfer heat, so you don't get that cold. Yeah, barbecue camo that thing. That'd be pretty cool. Paint my keg, camo my keg still. Paint some pink flowers on it. Put it over in the flower bed. Get that Gucci flage for the backyard. Yeah, it was in 4-wheel drive, but 85, is that with the stand? Yeah, I mean, with the stand, if it's a good quality stand, it's not too bad. But man, I get you some angle iron and make you a stand. If you got your cheap stick welder or something, man, you can have. Yeah, if you got a frame, and well, a buddy of mine I was talking to, I gave him the idea of using a. I didn't get what my original idea. I'd seen it, a buddy of mine use it for in the 80s. An old tire rim, but it has to be steel. Don't use magnesium rims or any of that. But a steel rim, cut it out and set his inside that. And that worked real well. That keg sit right down on that rim, and it worked well. I guess it's a small car rim, though. Yeah, it worked real well. Yeah, you can make your diffuser plate and put in between it. That for the jet burners, but still, when you do that, it uses a lot of gas. You use a lot more, and it's a lot longer to heat and stuff, and but beats scorching. That's why I just steep anymore. I don't even bother trying to cook it down and like I used to. But I guess if you're doing something like malted corn, that you have to cook forever, and yeah, I don't even. Does anybody even do that anymore? Try to use malted corn and use the malt in it? That used to take so long to do. It might on a milk can still if it's made of 400, but a lot of these 300 and 304 and 316 stainless just not ferrous enough to really, some will have slight magnetic properties, but barely, and it just doesn't work real well. But like we were talking, you can put the 400 series stainless steel ball bearings in there, and they make a 400 series ball bearing in there, or I guess you could put, I don't know, maybe a metal induction plate, or a plate on there to set it on, and use the induction on the plate it sits on. That would work. Yeah, my banjo, yeah, it's like 300,000 BTU, man. Them some bitches are hot as fire. But they go through the gas. You put that 20 psi burner on there, or a regulator on there. Oh yeah, it'll boil water in a minute, man. It's good. Those chip burners are good for getting the water hot. They're great for heating up water. And if you're steeping, that's all you really need. You, you know, but to put your steel on to distill with, it. I guess you could use something thin. It doesn't have to be 1/4 inch plate or 1/2 inch or nothing big or crazy. I guess you could use maybe a cookie sheet or something like that, or a little pizza sheet. Yeah, it won't. It won't work on copper. I just steep, brother. I know it well. I guess in the wintertime it gets tougher to steep because it's harder to keep that. But if you put it in a cooler, and that's the thing is if you can insulate your fermenter or your um, mash barrel, whatever, and keep it insulated, a cooler works real well too. It's not a problem, but out in that cold weather, if you're using something that's not insulated, yeah, it's not gonna steeping is not gonna cut it. You're gonna have to cook. Yeah, it's crazy. But you can get dual use out of it if you go fishing and do a lot of other things. But you can get an old 50-gallon, 55-gallon plastic barrel and then get you a 40 or something taller and thinner. I think it's a 42 maybe that I've got. It was used in the medical field. I don't know what it had in it, but it wasn't it wasn't fentanyl or anything I worry about. But sanitary, they're food grade. But and just use that spray foam. Just put it inside there and spray foam around it, or you could pack, plastic peanuts in there, those styrofoam peanuts, or just stuff those down in there, or whatever. I guess you could use whatever foam insulation, whatever you can stuff down in there, just kind of insulate it. That works. That works just fine. And it's a lot bigger. I mean, you could have your 42-gallon, which is 160 some quarts, 164-quart cooler that would cost a lot. And you get dual use. If you fish, you can take it. If you go out fishing, you catch, stripers or big fish, muskie, and so you need something a little larger than a crappie box. Um, or like in some of those, my center console had a pretty long cooler in it that was for ocean fishing. But you can get a lot of use out of it. You can use it for parties and hold a lot of beer in them big ass coolers. Makes a good seat too. Yeah. The fire pit, huh? I guess you could put it on that volcanic rock and just crank it up underneath that volcanic rock. Yeah, you can use it for fermentation, everything, man. You can do a lot more. But yeah, if you get like a 60 and then put a 50 inside of that, you know, just foam around it. You got a good insulated, you know, mash barrel. And those are great for steeping. I'm not gonna cook anymore. I'm not gonna cook grains anymore because I've scorched and I've run my last batch. You know, I'm not patient enough, and I hate sitting there holding a damn drill and sitting there stirring forever and ever and ever like that. You know, I worked up after a while. I worked up a drill, zip tied to, you know, wood and all that, and strapped. Used some strapping, and made a little thing where I could just sit my drill right on top of my fermenter. That way I could add my corn slowly, and as it's cooking, you know, or on my 30-gallon pot. And I'm not going to fool with that anymore. I'm just going to steep. It's just a pain in the ass, but it has a nice little setup. Yeah, so what you do is just, so you measure the diameter of the top of the 44 and cut that size hole in the 55, and then foam around it, set it right down in there, or you can just spray it around it. You know, it doesn't have to fit perfect, you know, it as long as it sits inside of it. Hell, I mean, you could just get regular, you know, any kind of thing that would insulate. You could use regular, you know, styrofoam peels or peanuts. The spray stuff that they spray foam insulate would be the best. Like the stuff it, cans of stuff it, whatever. Um, just let it expand in there and just have something, throw a weight in it, keep it down. On the very bottom, put you a piece of styrofoam we were talking about, or just some whatever to keep it up off the bottom a little bit so it be insulated all the way around. You can do it yourself. That actually, I was gonna do some copper plating and some stuff at one time, and I was but you can use electrolysis and copper plate pretty easily. Just use a battery charger and that copper sulfate stuff that I think it's the stuff they use to kill stumps and stuff with is real high copper, and you can use it for plating. Pretty interesting. Yeah, you can't. I don't trust them either. Not a turkey fryer. What in the hell? How in the hell did I do that? Oh, okay, that I highlighted everything. Everything was blue. That's nice. Llama, is that on Amazon? Yeah, that's a good deal. That's 200,000. I'm not sure if it's how many inches that is though. But yeah, that'll work. That's a banjo burner. 200,000 BTU, $37. I think that's a winner. Llama Viva, I've never heard of them. So that's a fine looking little banjo burner. Yeah, a lot quieter and a lot more even heating is the biggest thing. You know, I don't mind the, but just that nice even heating. And good and hot. Oh yeah, cast iron. Anything that's anything that a magnet will stick to works well with the induction heaters, and that's how you. That's one of your tests. It has to be a ferrous metal, but anything a magnet will stick to, it'll work. And if it's stainless and you got a magnet that sticks, I think the 400 series is definitely what you want, and a lot of your cookware and stuff is 400 series, but a lot of the stuff like Bever and stuff we get out of, even though they say it's induction, it's barely, it's not getting them. It wouldn't be as efficient, but it might work. Well, some of those old cast irons that were used for cooking had a cover over top of the plate where I guess inside you'd start a fire, and they would have a little cover over top of where you would put a pot on the top. So if you wanted to cook, you'd take off that and you'd set it there, and you'd get that heat directly from underneath where that fire box was. And then you put that little cover plate back over it, and when you wasn't using it, there's 4, but those are old antique stoves. But yeah, you could use probably get an old cast iron skillet and cut that up. But yeah, it's going to a lot of trouble. Yeah, anything steel, metal, anything that's magnetic, so you can find you some 1/4 inch or even, I guess, 1/8 inch or something thin. It wouldn't matter just as long as it could heat up. But I guess it'd be glowing. Not into fish. I'm not into most fish, but certain fish I'll eat that's real light, delicate, white fish, like a mahi mahi. I'll eat mahi mahi, and walleye's good, crappie's good, cod is good. There's a lot of the white fish that's very delicate and flaky that doesn't have a real fishy taste. I'm fine with those, but like trout and the darker oily fishes like mackerel and stuff, I don't know. Too fishy for me. Yeah, it's plenty. 200,000. Yeah, I need to get them going. As soon as I get this apple and this blackberry run and all my old wines, I've got a bunch of old wines I got to run that are getting a little bit, they're starting to lose their good flavor. They're not as good as they used to be, and not worth drinking anymore. Some of the old plum wine and stuff I've got. So I'm gonna pop a few corks on all that and get that going. Run all that apple, run that blackberry, or make a wine out of it. I haven't decided yet. It's staged for a while now. It should be about ready to bottle up or run. Might back sweeten it and bottle it up. It should be pretty good. Watts to BTUs. I'd say there's a kilocalorie. You just measure how many kilocalories. The watt to BTU, 1 watt equals 3.41 BTU per hour. So just divide by 3.41. To convert your BTUs to watts, or multiply by 3.41 to convert watt to BTUs. So a 4,500 watt converted to BTUs times 3.41. That'd be about 15,345. So nowhere near what a 200,000 would be. So a lot better than a 4,500 watt burner, element. It's strange, but 3.41, that's almost the same as pi, 3.14, and a bunch of other numbers. I have to remember it that way. Oh boy, I'm tired as can be this week. So what else y'all buying yourself for Christmas? Anybody got any plans? I got myself that column. And I wanted to get myself I wanted to buy that SIG M400, but looks like I'm buying the PC. Yeah, it's yeah, definitely enough power. 200,000 BTUs is just fine. You won't crank that thing all the way open. You can when you're boiling your water, though. But yeah, they're perfect, man. Those banjo burners, those 10-inch banjo burners are great. Perfect. I mean, they'll heat up a keg, man, in a heartbeat. I've got a couple of them. I use one for that big 30-gallon. I was talking about pot. It's kind of one of those Cajun cookers. It's got the little mesh basket inside. You can strain and pull stuff out, and got a lid and everything. Well, I tell you what, I bought that about 7 years ago, and the price on those things have about doubled. It was crazy. They've almost probably about 80% more than what I paid for it. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's almost 100% more. Man, it's insane. Right, right. And till you're heating up the pot that has to heat, and it loses, heat before it transfers to the inside and transfer the energy to the inside. So there's a lot of waste, a lot of inefficiency there, for sure. Well, I'll tell you what, it's 10 and I am bushed. And last night was Ann's birthday. So I think I'm going to spend the rest of the evening with her. She's got to be in bed by 10:30, 11 o'clock, and got your reflex stuff still coming. Awesome. That's some good tours right there. So you was in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, and Buffalo Trace. Yes, sir. I know those are all pretty close to me. I guess I can be at Buffalo Trace in about 15 minutes, probably about 30, 25 for wild turkey. 17th. Well, my sister was the first, Anna's the second. My mom's would have been the 29th. My dad is the 25th. My niece is the 17th. I thought it was 18th. Do what, babe? 19th. Yeah, I knew it was. I was thinking 18th, 19th, not 17th. I'm glad I got somebody who can remember shit. One of these days, she might be doing the podcast. She learns by listening to me back there. She probably knows more than a lot of people. Yeah, one of these days, maybe she'll be doing the podcast, teaching y'all. I've never done this, but she's been pretty good to help her. She's my little berry crusher, man. She helps a lot preparing and clean up afterwards. We'll do, y'all. Hey, everybody have a great week. Stay warm, and we will see you all Saturday. Maybe me and Clint plan to do something special Saturday. Do something themed or something, and focus, maybe a focus point on something aspect, maybe either equipment or maybe a specific distillate, go over some recipes or something like that. Do something a little different. Maybe some something festive for Christmas. Used to make a little Santa shine. I just pretty much ran a neutral and put candy canes in it and dissolve those in there, and actually makes a damn pretty good drink. Did you? I hope you're getting feel better, brother. But yeah, I'm gonna have to hit it, man. I've been yawning. I didn't, it took everything for me to wake up and come over. It was 7:45, and I was like, oh man. I slept for almost an hour, man, and I was deep sleep, man. I was that tired. I mean, we were both nodding off on the couch after we ate, watching TV, and we snuggled up for about an hour there and had a little nappy, and I need more of that. Yeah, it's kind of like a snoppy. It's a peppermint. It's peppermint shine. I just regular, neutral shine. I guess it was a grain that I made it with, and corn, and just put those little peppermints in there. Just put a bunch of them in there. Hey, Tammy, how you doing? I guess you got a little snow over there too. You got her just where he's about to get out, Tammy. You didn't run us off. But yeah, those little candy canes are good dissolved in some liquor. They make you have to run it through a coffee filter, put some floaties and stuff in there, But it's pretty good stuff. Every year I dissolve some in there and make a little Santa shine. Everybody seems to like it. All right, y'all. We'll talk to you Saturday evening. I guess we'll do something. We'll talk about something. Maybe Clint, give me a call. Maybe we can come up with something unique or go over some recipes and maybe share some recipes with people. And I'll upload that thin mash recipe to the DIY page, and because we don't have a thin mash on there, at least it's not named thin mash, and I'll have to type up a recipe, and I need to finish that multi-grain how-to as well. But I've got a couple how-tos for beginners that if you follow the simple instruct, well, they're not simple, and the way I did it, I've got to redo it because a lot of people are like, you didn't use capital letters at the beginning, and I wasn't trying to do it in sentence structure. I was just trying to do it line for line, like you need to do this, then you need to do this and this, and so I didn't really put in caps and commas and periods and stuff. So some people had trouble following it, and I guess it made me look like an illiterate fool. So I guess I'm gonna have to reword it for people that want it structured properly. And but I'll do that in the multigrain and try to get those done this week and share those. It's basically for beginners, but it works for anybody that wants to do all grain and doing the steep method with Now with the all grain, I'm going to do a with amylase and with just malted grain, because I know a lot of people like doing it both different ways. But yeah, what's going on, Roy? You ran us off, man. As soon as you get on here, we're about to log off, and maybe we'll bring Clint on next week, and both of us could collaborate or do a little Christmas special. But we'll talk about it and see what we can get going on, and try to come up with something unique, and maybe do some fireball or something like that. A little how to make the fireball. That'd be pretty good. Love people like that. But we'll figure something out, make a little difference, have some kind of topic to talk about. Other, we're of course do their question and answers. If anybody's got some questions, we didn't have a lot of beginners in there tonight to ask a lot of questions. I had one or two, so hopefully we can get more of those in. I like having a lot of beginners asking questions, so maybe we can kind of hopefully get some more people in for that. For sure. I definitely enjoy helping the beginners, and that's not our sole purpose, but definitely enjoy helping them out. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your week, and we will see you Saturday the 6th at 8 Eastern. Till that time, everybody, peace out, shine on, and see you Saturday.